Welcome. How you guys doing? My name's Gil Posnanski and welcome to the 15th. Can't believe it's been 15 laser live streams here on YouTube, concentrating on lasers, makers, creators. Welcome on board. If this is your first time here, please introduce yourself. We are here to help and create a community. My name is Gil Posnanski. If this is your first time, as I was saying before, please, we'd love it if you can come and say hello. If you are a return, love it if you go into the chat room. I got the chat room up right here. Do not be afraid. Feel free to converse and let me know what you're thinking, if you've got questions, all the rest of it. I hope everyone is having a fantastic last 2 weeks. I think before I spoke to you the last time, we were heading into Easter, so I hope you all had a fantastic Easter break. I know that that it's been interesting 2 weeks. To me, I kind of feel like it was just yesterday that I was hanging out with all of you guys talking about what I love. But it's been fun seeing what you guys have created, what you've shared on Facebook, what you've shared through email, and we're going to go through some of that stuff right here. I see Mike, my good friend Mike, is saying good evening from Queensland in the passenger seat while your wife is driving. That's dedication. Thank you so much, Mike, for joining us, even though you are on the move. I do appreciate it. And I see Adrian's here as well from Cooktown. I'm glad, Adrian. Any word? Any news? I know that. Actually, it wasn't Adrian. It was another Mike. Someone touched base with me. He said maybe he's not going to be able to get onto the laser live stream today, only because he's waiting on news for his grandchild. I want to just double check exactly who that was. I believe it was a new user that I've spoken to a couple of times. I think it's a Mike. Let me just. I'm funny. I kind of get a little bit. There's so many great people in here. I remember people more from where they are, so that's why I really love it when people share with me where they're from, because it's almost like putting a mental kind of pin in a virtual map. So that's Mal. That's right. So Mal actually touched base and was like, "Hey Gil, might not be able to come on board today." waiting for news about my new grandchildren. I'm like, you know what? That's the greatest reason to miss the laser live stream, the ultimate making. So you know what, Mal, if you're watching this, I hope the good news is here, and definitely share it with us when it gets there. Audrey H is also here from Melbourne, my hometown. That's awesome. It's great to see Audrey here as well. I know Audrey's been here a couple of times, kind of discussing about lasers and crafts and the Emblazer. So you know what, all that stuff is pretty amazing. Now we've got a lot to go through. The last couple of streams, we try to aim this stream to go for about an hour. The last couple of times we've been doing more like an hour and a half. So I want to jump straight in and go get the housekeeping done, and then go straight onto the content that I've prepared for you guys. If this is too long, if the format that it is right now is too long, please let me know, whether or not you in the comments below of this live stream, or live, or on Facebook. I'm super eager to share everything that I know, but that also means, you know, I could do a stream for 3 hours every week. Not everyone's going to be able to do that. So I want to make sure that it's working for you as well as it's working for me. Now, first of all, I want to acknowledge that these live streams wouldn't have continued if it wasn't for two amazing companies getting behind it. And that happens to be Darkly Labs, which is the home of the Emblazer range. I have an Emblazer laser cutter. I think it's one of the greatest machines that you can put into either a classroom or an office, and I'll actually show you where mine is very soon. And as well as Lightburn. And Lightburn, I think, again, I said this well before they ever sponsored me, Lightburn is the most intuitive laser cutting software that I know of. Both these companies have been able to make this resource, this live stream, available to everyone, and I just want to thank them. You're watching this right now because of the fact that they're able to support this stream. So thank you. If you haven't been to their sites, if you haven't got an Emblazer, or you haven't ever heard of Lightburn, maybe you're using some proprietary software, go check them out. It's going to make your life a lot easier. I know that Lightburn has really been adapted by the maker and the hobbyist community as the penultimate software, and I think it's just incredibly amazing that they've been able to do that. And you know what, it's being adopted by in the industry, and especially a lot of like, I don't want to say hobby stores, but businesses that use crafts, use lasers, and a lot of sign writers, a lot of manufacturers of different decorations for weddings and cakes and all the rest of it. Every time I speak to them, they're like, oh yeah, we use Lightburn. And I'm like, so cool to hear. So you know what, that's what we're going to be concentrating on. All my examples use the Emblazer as well as Lightburn. We're going to use that straight away here as well, so that's going to be pretty amazing. We're also going to, I just want to go to the chat room really quickly. As I was saying before, Mike was in here, Audrey was in here. Random NPC, how you doing, my friend? You've jumped over from another platform. Thank you so much for coming in. Very different type of stream that you're used to, but we're going to be talking about one of my passions, which is lasers and creating and making. So, come on board. And as I said, if you're here, if you're new to the chat room, let me know where you're from around the world. It makes it a little easier for me to remember. And as I said, we're trying to create a community. And in fact, we're trying to create a community so much that I like to actually state the intentions of this stream so everyone knows what's going on. So let's go to it. I've started doing this every stream. I think it just clarifies what we're here to do. And these are the laser live stream intentions, and our very first one is to build a creative, interactive laser community. One of the things that I love about this is it's not just a one-way street. We go both ways. I love learning new tricks and seeing the things that you create, and I want the live stream to become a conduit for you to be able to go and actually share your work outside of your community. Let's send it out to a wider community. That is absolutely amazing. And you know what? It's an honor to go and share the work that everyone has done and shares. My second intention here is to support laser users. It doesn't matter if you're a diode laser user, a CO2 laser user, if you're a fiber laser user. I love the fact that we're all sharing what we know, and my main personal goal with these live streams is to support laser users all round. My third intention is to share the knowledge that I know and also be able to learn from everyone who comes in here. And that's amazing. I know what I know, But the fact of the matter is, we are all stronger together than we are apart. And by sharing different knowledge, and we see that when we go through in the Lightburn deep dive. Last time we did it, people were hey Gil, have you tried this? I started using that literally straight away after the last stream. So by able to share that, we actually create a community that is pretty awesome, pretty amazing. And the community doesn't just live here on YouTube. It actually also lives in a number of different forms. So let me share with you how you can get involved and how you can become, an active member of this community. So the very first thing is, if you haven't done it before, hit that subscribe button and to support this project. By hitting that subscribe button, by hitting that thumbs up on the live stream, you're giving analytics to both YouTube and Google that makes it a little easier for people to be able to find these streams and find the information that they're after. Second of all, don't be afraid. Chat. See, Random NPC just hit 100 followers yesterday. Congratulations, Random. I'm so glad to hear that. And you know what? Random knows exactly what I'm talking about here, because with the chatting, with the subscribers, with the thumbs up, that's all feedback that helps support the project as well as the streamer themselves. Now, the other thing is that, we have an email address right now. So it's laser.livestream@gmail.com. If you've got a project that you want to send in and you want to share with people, please feel free to send an email. Maybe you've got a question that you want to have answered on the live stream, or maybe you just want to say hello. You can do that through the email, or you can make it public. And we have a group a Facebook group, which you can get to at www.facebook.com/groups/laserlivestream. So you know what? If you want to, you can just go straight into Facebook and search for Laser Livestream. You'll find the group. It's a private group. Hit that button, answer a few questions. You get in, and you will be speaking to a lot of the people you will see in the chat tonight. Lots of people sharing lots of really great knowledge and projects. So you know what? It's a great inspirational way. Now, the other thing that you can do to help support this stream is if you go below, right where it says description, you'll see a number of links. One of those links is a one-time donation. So if you like what you've learned, or you've learned something that really helped you out and you want to support this, you can give a one-time donation to the stream through YouTube, actually through PayPal in this case. That all of that comes directly to me. That money goes straight back into buying supplies and keeping the laser and also doing some research. So anything that I make on this live stream, I turn around, and believe me, I wish that I can do this full time. But you know what? We've all got to pay our bills and all the rest of it, even with concentrating on just the laser and buying materials and all the rest of it. So every little bit helps. And I want to thank the people since the last week who have actually given a donation, big or small. Every little bit counts. Now, the last way you can also support financially is in the chat room. You'll be able to see a thing called Super Chats. You can buy kind of stickers on YouTube, and they also allow, YouTube takes its cut, I get it, but also that money comes back through the system to me. It takes a little bit longer, but all of that, again, gets rolled into either supporting the live stream through equipment, or the other part about it is keeping the laser up and running and buying materials so I can try new techniques, learn new things, and be able to share them here. So you know what? It's an awesome way. I invite anyone who really gets something out of it. If you want to help and support that way, you're more than welcome, and it's incredibly appreciated. So that there are ways you can actually get involved in the community. So you know what? I want to jump straight into it because I want to see if we can keep this as close to an hour as possible. I'm incredibly excited about what's going on. First off, we're going to go into some user projects. These are Blazor users who have created things in the last 2 weeks, and some of these things are just amazing. What can I say? And our very first example here happens to be from Campbell Travis. Campbell did some really unique signage. What I love about this is it looks to me like he's taken some sort of wood and painted the wood, and then has actually engraved into the painted surface his signage, and that's given a really unique look. A lot of laser projects that I see, those projects come out and they look like perfect. Like they look manufactured. They have no individuality. So, people are cutting into perfect materials. They're engraving into that sort of stuff. What I love about this is each sign is unique. And if Campbell was going to go and replicate this process, each surface and the way he prepares it would create a kind of a bespoke sign. So you can see here, he's done 2 signs about dance to the beat of your dreams, 2 different colors, and you can see the level of engraving completely different, as well as bless the food before this family, beside us, the love between us. So what I love about that first purple sign is you can see where the paint has come off the wood. Again, beautiful finish on this sort of stuff, and it's spectacular to be able to see that and be able to recreate that kind of bespoke, one of a kind. I know that for me, I worked with a student who wanted to make a guitar, and what was really interesting was he did the whole thing himself. It was a project we did over 6 months, and one of the last steps was to actually varnish and paint the wood surface. And when he first started that out, he made a mistake, which is perfect. And at the end of the project, his father said, what's with the blemish here? What's with the mistake? And I kind of went, it's not a mistake. This is a unique guitar. There will never be another one like it. If you want perfect, go spend $200 in a store. But this is the one your son made. And in passing with that, in going through that process, that blemish can never be recreated. It's a unique, one-of-a-kind part. And that's kind of how I'm thinking about those signs as well. Sometimes you just gotta experiment to make things unique in its own way, as opposed to just replicating the things that come out of factories. Let's go check out the second gallery example. And this one's from Adrian. Adrian's in the chat room. So this is actually a memorial to someone who passed away. This was really beautiful. And I know that Adrian put quite a bit of work into this. I love these sort of examples because they're incredibly personal. And I have an old saying that says, what is most painful is also most personal. And I'm sorry that this person had passed away, but what an incredible memorial marker for Marie. Again, a really, really beautiful way of using the laser to create something that's really unique. And I'm not sure if this person is a member of your family or if this was made for someone, but wow. Oh, Malcolm's here too. Sorry. Malcolm, did you get any news about your grandchild? Please let us know. I just got excited to see Malcolm was in here as well. But sorry, Adrian. I know I got a little distracted. I guess it's full cycle where we honor those who have passed on, and we eager to welcome those who are about to join us. So again, this was just a really beautiful example, and I really wanted to kind of honor that and the work that you put in there. And it's nice to see a process like this again used to remember someone, and also bring a little bit of comfort to those who are missing. So yes, absolutely. Audrey is in the chat room saying it's such a lovely piece, and I agree. It's a beautiful piece, and again, something that you can do that helps honor those who have passed. Our third example here happens to be Mike. Mike's also in the chat room, and Mike's been playing with solid colored acrylic. One of the drawbacks or I don't think it's really a drawback, but one of the things that a lot of people complain about is the fact that diode lasers work in a wavelength of visible light, which means that if you shoot a diode laser through clear perspex, that energy goes right through the perspex and doesn't actually cut anything. So one of the things that a lot of people have been experimenting with, Mike included, is using solid colored perspex to see, if you can cut through and use that within an Emblazer 2 or an Emblazer core environment. And in this case, you can see Mike's using black, and he's cut out a phone holder for his smartphone, and you can see the detail with the motorcycle in there. And I love this. Mike, every couple of weeks, I see Mike using perspex in ways that a lot of people challenge using a diode laser. And it's really, really amazing to be able to see this. This is a really cool design. I like the stand a lot. I haven't actually played with black perspex. I've got some red perspex. I've got some yellow perspex. But I've got to go and find, my source when it comes to material has actually dried up. I've got to find a new supplier. And when I do that, I'm really looking forward to being able to play with some of the designs that Mike's doing. But every time I go onto Facebook as I'm getting ready for the next live stream, there's another example for Mike. So well done, mate. This looks pretty fantastic. And it's a really, really great example of what you're able to do. Again, lots of people kind of complaining about diode lasers can't do this, can't do that. Well, there you go. There's the proof in the pudding. I always say that the Emblazer is like a surgeon's scalpel, where CO2 50-watt laser is kind of like a jackhammer. I'd rather work with a scalpel and get a beautiful finish and a beautiful rendition of what I want to make, as opposed to just upping the power and just burning through it. So it's kind of interesting. Let's go quickly back to the chat room. Adrian saying thanks. It was just a friend. Well, either way, I'm sorry that your friend has passed. But again, what a beautiful way of honoring her. And Malcolm saying, I love seeing other people's work. Opens up the opportunities that I hadn't thought about when I first started looking at getting a laser. Mal, this is exactly why we showcase people's work. You know what? When you work in a vacuum, you work within your own framework. I know what I make it all the time. When I was working in a public makerspace for the city of Melbourne, I loved it when people were bringing in their own projects. Have Because for me, I would never have thought about making them. And every time I saw them, well, two things happened. One was I was inspired to have my own take on their work. And the really other interesting part about it is, in a subconscious way, I was getting permission to go and work in that area. So hopefully that also works for you as well. Mike says, thanks, just takes a little bit more time. I'm sure it does. As I said, I'm looking forward to going and doing that myself. I'm assuming that there's a little bit of a low power setting and multiple cuts, but you can do it, which is pretty amazing. Mal saying, yes, Gil, new granddaughter late this morning. Mum and dad are all well. Grandparents also well. That is awesome. Congratulations, a new granddaughter. Mal, what a great piece of news. And thank you for sharing it with us and our community here on the live stream. Like I said, I thought it'd be a little bit later on. I was kind of surprised to see you, but wow. Congratulations. You must be incredibly proud. Got to bail from now, pick up my daughter. We'll watch the rest tonight. No problem, Mike. Thank you so much. Definitely hang out, man, because we're going to be talking about your workspace a little bit later. But let us know in the chat below what you think about all the rest of that sort of stuff. Going back to the gallery, we're going to look at Mike's work. Mike's not in the chat room, but he definitely joins us as well quite often. Mike uses his Emblazer 2 to make kind of railway scale models. So you can see there he's got a building and a small plane and a much larger, I think it's a Sopwith Camel in the background, I might be wrong, but a biplane of some sort. Now, admittedly, he did say that he used a friend's CO2 laser to cut some of the parts on that bigger model, but you can see the detail. I mean, that's just basically scaled up from the one that's ahead, but both the first two were cut on the Emblazer. So, I mean, again, this machine is pretty amazing, especially since you're able to put it, in an area like an office, like a classroom, maybe even a bedroom. We'll see what comes up, as opposed to putting it in a permanent place with water cooling, with a ventilation system. I know that the lasers that I worked with in makerspaces, we had to actually have holes put in the wall, professional vacuum systems put in, or basically extraction systems, water cooling. I learned a lot by keeping those systems up and running. One of the things that I love about this, and that's why I haven't bought, let's say, a Chinese laser or something like that, is simply because of the fact that I can put this. Well, I will show it a little bit further. In fact, let's get to the last one, and then we can jump over to what we're going to be talking about today. And the last example, and this happens to be, I've got to introduce this. I realized I jumped it a little bit too early. Remember last week I was talking about Elaine Buford's scissors that she made as a Christmas present. Elaine sent this to me. Eleanor sent this to me. It's not Elaine, it's Eleanor. Eleanor sent this to me around Christmas. I apologize. I didn't get a chance to actually to process the video. Worked out there's some audio I had to take off, so I'm going to talk through it. But this is an incredible thing. This was a Christmas present for her. I think it was for her sister. All made on the Emblazer 2, and you can see this is the box has been made. You'll actually see the scissors inside with a little laser cut card, and you can see it right here. Yeah, it is Elaine. Boy, I'm so silly. But you can see, look at that. There's the whole, a little note in there as well. Obviously, a gift for someone who loves to sew. And look at the detail on there. The little kangaroo, the little button, love to sew. I mean, just such a beautiful piece. This is, just really, look at it. Merry Christmas 2020. Oh, man, I've been waiting to show this to you guys for some time. And I'm so glad I was able to add it in now. I mean, just a beautiful piece, as well as a completely flocked box, and in fact, even an outlay in there for where the scissors go to. I would love to get Elaine on the program to talk about this project, but she's a little shy, which is understand. We're not judging on that, but it was just such a beautiful piece that and so creative. So there you go. There's Margaret's Christmas present, which I'm sure she has, and it's just a really beautiful, beautiful piece. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm glad I was able to finally get it on the live stream. I think last time I was on, I was like, hold on, I've got it on my computer. Silly me. I actually had it on the other computer. I couldn't get it across in the right time. So I don't know if you're watching right now, Elaine, but please, let us know a little bit about that project. How long did it take you to create? I'm curious about the scissors themselves. Do they cut? Do they have a blade on them? Do they have an edge? It's that level of bespoke craftsmanship is amazing. And again, an incredible example of what you can do with a laser cutter, with the Emblazer, and with Lightburn. All those things are pretty amazing. So guys, if you are working on projects and you want to share them, please, I invite you to either share them on the Facebook group or just send it through via email. And as Mal, who's a brand new Emblazer user, he's waiting for his core to arrive. He's inspired by all the work you do, and I'm looking forward to seeing his work and inspiring all of you. And let's continue that cycle. So it's going to be kind of awesome. So what are we talking about today? Well, the theme of today's stream is setting up a workplace for your laser. So let's jump into it. And we're going to be talking about setting up a laser workspace. You've got your laser. Now where to use it, how to set it up, and some examples of other people's spaces. And you know what? I saw this photo. I mean, obviously the guy's got a shield on his face because of COVID-19. But you know what? If you've ever seen photos online, they all look kind of like this. A big clunky machine in the middle of a space, people walking around kind of haphazard, kind of really freaking out on what's going on. A lot of people kind of looking, but not really touching. All those things, as far as I'm concerned, is away from the reason why you want to get access to this equipment at all. You want to explore it, you want to be safe, you want to see what it can do. And the great part about it is once you've learned the basics, you want to use it to express what you want to create. And that's what it's all about. So maybe you've got a space, maybe you haven't created a space, maybe you've got a space that you share with people, maybe you're about to get your Emblazer. Let's go through some of the things you might want to think about when you want to put together a space, and let's go take a look at some of the spaces that Emblazer users have created. So let's go take a look. First of all, what are the elements you're going to need to set up a laser workspace? Well, first of all, you're going to need a laser cutter or engraver. Whether you use the Emblazer, whether you use a different type of machine, whether you build it as a DIY kit like the core, or whether you've gotten a $40,000 laser that's maintained by another company or anything like that, you will need to basically have that piece of equipment to create that space. So that is the very first piece that you're going to need. Now the second piece, or the second element that you need to take into account is airflow. So do you need do you need an extraction system? Is the extraction system built in? Do you need a filter? Does it need to go to the outside? Will a window do? Do you need to create some sort of permanent vent to where you're going to be putting the piece of equipment? They're all things to take into account. Now, the third part that I would think that you need to look at as an element is where you're going to store your materials. And you know what? There's nothing worse than setting up a laser and realizing, you know what? I'm out of wood, or I'm out of MDF, or I'm out of perspex, or I'm out of the material that I'm about to cut. This is incredibly frustrating. So I like to have my material stored near the laser, so that when I'm getting to that final stage, ready to launch the project, I can line it all up and be able to go without too much of a problem. So that's definitely something that I take into account. The fourth part is supplemental equipment storage. Do you have equipment that goes along with the laser cutter to maintain it? A lot of people don't think about it, but a pair of calipers, measuring device, is so important when you're using a laser, because you know what? A lot of the settings you set up in Lightburn are the thickness of the material you're going to cut. You want to make sure that focal range is dead on so you can get the cleanest cut. You can get the cut with the least amount of energy that you need to be able to get through there. Maybe you need to have some wipes for the lens. Maybe you need to have some tools to be able to move the bed up and down. All that sort of stuff needs to be at hand. So supplemental storage equipment is really, really important. And then the last thing that I look at, that's interesting. There you go. The last thing, unfortunately, it's not going to come up because there's an error here, and that happens to be fire safety. Is the machine set up in a place that if it happens to capture on fire, is that fire going to catch somewhere else? Do you have safety equipment on hand? Can you get out of the room if for some reason you're working and something spontaneously happens? Is the machine blocking your exit? Is there airflow? All those things should be taken into account. But on the basic level, do you have the equipment needed to be able to put out a fire quickly and instantly? So we're going to look at all those elements. And in fact, I asked a few Emblazer users to share with us their space, so that we can go through that. And now there's no right or wrong answers. If there's an element that's missing in these examples, that's not a problem. We're not sitting here to say you've done the wrong thing or you've done the right thing. It's all about awareness and being able to be safe and use this equipment safely. And you know what? Let's go to those examples. And I love I tell you what, I love these examples because not any of these examples are the same. And that's what I love about it. So let's go to the first one, and that's Lauren. Lauren actually shared this with us. Lauren runs a professional sign shop, and you can see there his Emblazer is sitting on a desk. And again, what I love about this is how versatile the Emblazer is. It's sitting right next to a vinyl cutter. It's sitting there, so it has a dedicated space for his Emblazer. It's right there. Material storage is really close by. You can see to the left of that image, he's got material close by, and he's also got supplemental storage equipment. So all in the drawers down there, if he needs something, maybe he's got his tools to be able to maintain the machine. Maybe he's got his calipers. I'm not too sure, but there is supplemental storage in Lauren's setup. So that is an awesome setup. I like that. I also like any shop that's busy. To me, I think that shows that people are using the equipment and they're using that space in the best possible way. So Lauren, thank you so much for sending us the photo of your Emblazer in your shop. It's pretty amazing. Let's go to the next example that we have here. And this is Martin. Martin's in the UK. Martin usually does come on board and hangs out with us. I guess the time difference And Martin was told us that he actually has kind of his own nook. He's got his own kind of little shed out the back where he uses his emblazer. And you can see there, he's definitely got a dedicated space for the emblazer. Now, I love this. He's got excellent airflow here. If you look at the tube that's coming out the back of the emblazer where the extraction fan is, he's actually created a plate that goes over the window and is permanently set up. So his emblazer, when he's using it, is actually extracting all that the dust and the little particles, as well as any smoke that's created, and shunting it straight out that window. And instead of actually opening the window and shoving the pipe out there, he's actually made that fitted kind of plate, which is a very clever thing. I like that a lot. I think it's really, really smart. You got material storage. If you look at the bottom left-hand side, Martin actually showed this to us on the Facebook group. He keeps all his materials in tubs. You can see the tub there, so he can grab whatever material he needs, put it into the laser, and get working. And of course, he's got supplemental storage in those drawers just underneath where the emblazer is. So again, you know what? Love this example. It's really, really cool to be able to see what's going on there. Look at the hidden Easter bunny at Lauren's workspace. I'm gonna have to check that out next time. I'm sure there's Easter bunnies. I have no doubt that in the workspace like that, everyone's got hidden Easter eggs, and not only Easter bunnies. So thank you so much for that. Let's go on to the next. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Let's go on to the next workspace that was shared with us, and this happens to be Mike. Mike happens to be away. I spelled his name wrong, but it's Mike Camphor. No, this isn't Mike Camphor. This is Culver. Wow, I really screwed that up. Sorry, Mike. But this is Mike Culver's workspace. It's kind of cool. He's got a dedicated space for the emblazer, and in fact, he even built a housing for his emblazer core. So he actually got I don't want to say secondhand, but he got a lid from the Darkly Labs guys. I think it was a replacement lid that might have had a scratch or something on it. So he actually created a housing. Now you can't really see it too closely on the photo, but he's got a exhaust going into an air conditioner. It's a shame that Mike's not here, because I want to ask him lots of questions like, is that air con actually a filter? Or does it, and where does it take that air after it goes through the aircon? I'm sure he'll come back and reply in the comments below. And you can see there, he's also got a table, which is fantastic, as well as like a rubbish. So from this photo, I can't see any storage for materials. That's not a problem. But the homemade airflow filter, very, very curious about that. And the laser housing is like a step above. In a lot of ways, Mike here has created almost like an emblazer 2 out of an emblazer core. It just probably doesn't have the safety features, but you know what? I know it works for Mike because Mike uses it all the time. Let's move on. And this is Adrian. Now, this photo is a little dark, but this is actually Adrian's bedroom. And you can see here, man, this is not a bedroom. This is a maker space. And I totally understand where Adrian's coming from here, because you know what? When I was living at home, my first 3D printer lived in my bedroom. It wasn't as snazzy as as Adrian's on the left, because he's got the exhaust going straight out the window. I didn't do that. I never had what do they call it? Asthma. But after letting the machine run for a few nights, I was like, okay, I can't do this. This is not safe. Now, on the bottom right-hand corner, you can see the core, and the core is against a window, and I'm assuming the window gets opened when Adrian is actually using it. So here you can see that he definitely has a dedicated space to the emblazer. The window can be opened for airflow, I guess. Material storage is close by. You can see all the shelves, and supplemental equipment storage is here as well. So all of these examples are pretty cool. Now, out of all of these things, there's one thing that I haven't seen that it's going to come up in the next example, and you know, this, I want to make a point of it. So I'll show the example, and this happens to be my workspace. So I've said to a lot of people throughout, I can actually touch where my Emblazer is. I made a wooden stand, and I made it the right size so I could actually put a filter underneath. So that is the filter system that you can buy from Darkly Labs. Excuse the wires, I've got to clean that up. But the one thing that I've got here that I haven't seen is the fire blanket is within reach of the machine. So every Emblazer comes with a fire blanket, not because there's a risk, but because the people at Darkly Labs were concerned that people might not go out and actually get a fire blanket. Fire blankets are amazing, especially if you get to an issue where the machine has, you know, something has ignited and it's caught in the machine. By using a blanket, it's a very fast way of putting that out, as well as cutting power without actually destroying electronics. And as you can see here, I have mine hanging on a desk right by the machine. Now, some people said to me, geez, okay, hang on a second. If you try to grab that and it was on fire, well, it's actually on a hook, so I can grab that right off the hook straight away. So I've got a dedicated space to my Emblazer. It's right between two work desks. The airflow goes straight to the dedicated filter between the stand. Material storage, I don't know if you can see it, but on the right-hand side, right by the leg on the right hand side, I have all my wood, paper, and cardboard, and you can actually see even under the desk I have materials that I keep at hand. I have supplemental storage, and that actually happens to be the black box on the bottom. It happens to have all my tools, and I have my fire blanket in reach. So, you know, things just to keep in mind. You don't have to have a big space. The stand was actually built to the specifications of the footprint of the Emblazer 2. I am very, very limited in space. You can see the 3D printers here. I can actually reach back. And I'm now touching the machine right here. So you can see this room is very small. But I'm now, listen to this. I'm now touching my Emblazer. So I have my Emblazer here. I have my 3D printers here. Doesn't mean that you can't get the same functionality out of a space like that. And those are 5 workspaces. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing, you know, there's no problems. If the only thing that I would say to the examples that I had tonight would be, I'd love people to just put a nail into something and hang that fire blanket. I hope you never need it. I hope that at some point you pull it off the wall and go, geez, I got to spackle this wall. Thanks, Gil. And you know what? I'll gladly take that on the chin. But if for whatever reason something happens not to go the right way, I want you to be able to have the tools that you need at hand. And I think that's a huge safety one. Even though the Emblazer 2 has a temperature sensor that'll cut things off, you don't want it to get to that level. You don't want the machine ablaze to raise the temperature for that to happen. You want to be able to be safe no matter what's going on. Mike's having a go, but watch the rest later. No problem, Mike. And Adrian says, mine's on the wall next to my core. Oh, it's just out of view to the right. There you go. See, Adrian, great minds think alike. Couldn't see it, so I couldn't mention it there, but it's good to let us know that that's the case. And Debbie, how are you doing? I'm glad that you came in. Let me know where you're from, Deb. And it said, I didn't get a fire blanket with mine, but I purchased it during the pre-order time. I do have a small fire extinguisher sitting right next to my machine. That's great. I'm glad that you've got something. Now, as for the fire blankets, I'm not sure when they were added in. When I got my machine a couple of years back, the fire blanket came with it. But, I know the guys at Darkly Labs are forever adding new things as they discover them. I know that they were talking about some dispensers for alcohol to clean things and all that sort of stuff. I can't talk about that. I don't know the history of it, but I'm glad. You know what? I would say go get a fire blanket. They're not a hell of a lot, and you'll be surprised. You'll be real surprised. Not that I've ever needed to use one, but every time I help install an Emblazer in a school, I'm always put the fire blanket right there. And people are like, what, because the laser? I said, you know what? It's not just the laser. These things use heat and energy, and you never know what's going on there. Debbie's checking in from Hawaii. Thank you so much for coming all the way and hanging out with us all the way from Hawaii. The time difference normally knocks it out, but I'm scared to ask what the time is where you are. But thank you so much for coming on board. And you know what? Thank you for sharing that you've got a fire extinguisher. If you ever need to use it, it's probably going to knock out the electronics, but again, much better than actually burning down something. So, you know what? The reality of these machines are, if you use anything that generates heat, there's a fire hazard towards it. You know, I've seen 3D printers that have melted down aluminium because the sensor doesn't register, and they just keep pumping heat into it and burn down houses. I keep a smoke detector in this room. Because if I hear, if anything like that's in, I'm in here. I've got a kill switch for my power that's right by the door, so I can kill the power to this room. And as I said, I have the fire blanket right by the laser. I used to have a powder extinguisher, but I don't have one here. It's actually in my workspace. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm thinking I'm going to bring it. So you can never have too much, just for, God forbid, the case that something goes wrong. I hope you guys got something out of that. Just think about it. I want to invite people to be able to share their spaces, and we'll, if you want, I'm happy to share that and discuss the kind of best way to configure it. Definitely having some way to vent what your the vapor when you're cutting in a laser, whether it's a CO2 laser, a diode laser, even if you're just cutting wood, smoke. How many times or you're cutting paper and you can smell it. Just being able to vent it outwards is a huge benefit. And if you can afford it, the extractors that Darkly Labs bundles in with their Emblazer 2s, I know, I don't want you guys thinking, well, Gil, you got to say it because it's sponsoring you. No, well before any of that happened, these things are incredible when it comes to being able to filter out. And the great thing is the filter charcoal, the whole bit, gets full. You're not able to use it. You dispose of it, put a new one in, and you're good to go. Debbie sharing with us from Hawaii. I would love to be in Hawaii and do this. I'm a little paranoid and don't go about a few feet away from my Emblazer when it's cutting. Debbie, you are doing the right thing. Absolutely. I think anyone who leaves the Emblazer to cut unsupervised, I don't care if it's an Emblazer or any other type of machine, that's when accidents happen. You need to be able to be responsible for it. And one of the things that I do on my Emblazer, if I'm going into the other room and I've got Wi-Fi set up, I keep the camera on so I can see exactly what's going on. So I might not be exactly in the room, but you will see if there's a problem. If for some reason the laser stops moving and it's continually firing, I'm in here to save the project. I'm not worried about the fire. I want the project done. You know what I'm getting at. So by being able to do all of that sort of stuff, it's a pretty amazing way to be able to get all of that in the right, get all of that working. And again, the more you use the laser, the better you will know the characteristics of your laser cutter, and you'll know where you've got to give it a little bit more attention, a little bit more love, and when you can trust it. Absolutely. Guys, one of the things that I wanted to do today is I want to continue the series of the Lightburn deep dive. So we're going to go through and work out. I'm going to share with you. I'm going to go to my Mac in a second, but Spirit Junkie just came in. Hey, Spirit. In areas where small particles are produced, check fire detectors frequently, as small particles can clog the detector. Great point. I didn't know that, Spirit. And Spirit Junkie, let me know where you're from. Love the name, by the way. Love the handle, Spirit Junkie. One of the great things about having extraction outdoors and also having a filter is that will also be able to save it. But I'm going to go check my fire detector. Thank you so much, Spirit, man. I love this community. This is what it's all about. We're all sharing what we know. Good plans and tips. Thank you so much, my friend. So much. I'm gonna go jump into my Mac. We're gonna get that all up and running. We're gonna go and talk about Lightburn. This is the second part of the deep dive. We're going through some of the basics here. Whether or not you're an expert on Lightburn, or you've just come in, or you've got a few hours. You might rate yourself as someone who can use it, but not as an expert, or maybe you are an expert. Either way, it's all good. What we're doing right now is we're going through all the functionality of Lightburn. So today we're going to look at the toolbar, and we're going to go through all the tools that are set up with the toolbar as a default function. So that's what we're going to do. Let me go quickly and jump into my computer. Let's see if I can get that up and running. Here we go. I'm going to see you in just 2 seconds in Lightburn. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so let's just jump back into Lightburn. We can see here the latest version of Lightburn. We've just downloaded. I think they've just done a brand new version, fixing some of the bugs from their big release. If you haven't got it, I strongly suggest you get it. And we're going to jump into the area of the commands, or kind of, you know, the menu commands up the top here. So last week we went through all the different tools to draw stuff out, such as the box, the circle, you know, writing text. We can do all that sort of stuff. We went through all of that. If you missed it and you were interested in that, by all means, jump into the last laser live stream. You can check all of that sort of stuff. But as part of the Lightburn deep dive, we're going to go through all the commands so that we can get into the kind of really deep into Lightburn and everyone's on the same page. So let's start at the beginning. The very first thing we have here is we have a little icon here, which is the new. So if we happen to have created a project here and we want to get a new one, this is the shortcut. Hit that. It'll ask us, is your project been modified? Do you want to save it before closing? I'm going to say no because there's no reason, and it'll pop up a brand new project. So, you know, if you're working on something, or I've used this a lot to actually copy some elements from one layout into another. New is definitely what you want to do with that. Now, the next one across, this is a universal icon. This is open. So if you've got a project, this is the best way to open it up. And you can see here, we've got the Emblazor convention from last time. That was a project we saved. And there you go. We pop it straight up there. This is also fantastic. If you've laid stuff out, if you're cutting up multiple projects, this is exactly what you want to use to be able to organize things. Now, open does it. You can also pop straight up to the file, and file gives you another option here, and that's recent projects. So you can actually pull out a recent project, but that is in the big menu. In that menu bar, though, we do have the open. So let's go back and clear it, and we just did that. Then you have also the save file. So let's go back and open up. Let's go grab this guy again. We're going to change it just again to show you, like, you know, the way you can actually work with this sort of stuff. And again, we're going to talk about text a little bit later in the deep dive, but I love the way this works. It is one of the things that I really love. So we're going to call this a laser live convention. Instead, I've changed that. There's my placard. Maybe one day we'll all get together and do a convention. Who knows? We'll see what's going on. We want to save it. So the easiest way to do that is to actually hit the save button. Now, in this case, it's actually saved it over the original name, which is the Emblazor convention name. So we've just changed that file. But if you want to actually change it elsewhere, you have to go back into the file and you've got to save as. So I'm going to do that really quickly, and I'm going to go and call this laser live convention. Right? So that's now we've actually saved that as a completely different file name. Again, you know, a lot of people are like, "Huh, what are you talking about, Gil?" I'm not too sure. That's okay. I'm just, again, showing you how to get the results you want. So again, I've undone a lot of the typing we just did. And just in this case, I'm going to use the hotkey, which is Command Shift S. And there you go. I've now got the save project. I'm just going to, for the sake of the fact that we're using these files, and we'll go back to them, I now have two separate files that I can quickly change to. Oh, look at that. It didn't do it? Hold on a second. All right, so it's changed both of them? It did too. There you go. Interesting. Did I just find a glitch? Maybe I did. There's the Emblazor, right? But it actually, this is kind of the stuff that I love to go into. Oh no, there it is. I apologize. It just didn't update. So there's the laser live convention. It for some reason I didn't click on it, and it didn't. And we'll go back to the Emblazer. Yes, we want to save it, and there's it. There it is. So there you go. Actually, I thought that was kind of an interesting. See, now it's going to keep asking me if I've saved things. So that's interesting. We're going to say yes. That's the Emblazer one. Let's go back to the laser live stream. Click in here. It changed it. So I've actually clicked onto the work area. That changed the text here, which reloaded the new the actual new file. So that's something I haven't realized before. It's something that I guess I just discovered with you guys right now, that if you are swapping from, let's say, files that are very similar, you just need to click into the work area. That's something new that's come across. No problems. Now there's one last button in this original one. So let me just, we're going to say no, we don't want to save it, and that's import. So if I want to import a graphic, I can do that here, and I can double click, and there's my graphic that I was using last time for the last laser live stream. We were using this graphic to show some of the new image features. So if you want to import, if you're on a Mac, you can actually go and drag things in. I've found that sometimes it doesn't work as cleanly as you want, so I use the import. Let's go import something else. Here we go. There you go. Here's the PNG. So again, you've got a very quick way of being able to use just really basic import and save functions when it comes to using Lightburn, and they're all these four items here. Right across, the next one, this is one that a lot of people are going to use. That's undo, and undo is the hotkey is Command Z or Z, depending on where you're from. Again, this just happens to be a visual cue on the actual workplace. So if you want to undo things, you can just keep clicking back and forth. And again, you can also undo them or redo them. Sorry, undo and redo are both on here. I tend to use the Command Z command a lot. I rarely use redo, but if you need it, it's definitely there, and you're able to kind of work on your layouts quite well. Now, undo, redo, and then again, one of the most basic commands you're going to use, not just in Lightburn, but on a computer. The strength of a computer happens to be the fact that it can make multiple copies almost simultaneously or instantaneously. That is one of the key features of a computer, and we can do that here too. So we can copy this little penguin, and we can actually, we've got copy, cut, so we're going to cut it now, and then we've got paste, so we'll paste it. So one of the things that's really interesting about the paste function here is that you can actually use these commands. So I'm going to copy this guy into the buffer. I'm going to paste it here. So I can start, let's frame a couple of these guys around my picture. So let's just do this as an actual project. So maybe, maybe you've got a photo of a child or something that you want to work on. Now you can hit that copy and just drag it across. Or one of the things that I really love about Lightburn is that if you use the hotkey Command V, and you put your cursor, it'll actually bring it straight to where the cursor is. So that helps you just kind of get the layout exactly the way you want it. And this is one of those features that when it comes to laying out work, I just love the fact that it'll allow users to just kind of place where it is, hit that V button, there we go, as opposed to hitting this one up here, which is always going to center it. So again, that's just like a little trick, a little know-how. See, I want to put one right here, so let's do it. All right, okay, we're going to move that guy across. Well, we're working on it. He's a little too high. Let's move him down. Let's move him down. We can lay this out any way we want, so that's kind of cool. So here we are, just kind of, we got a lot of stuff going on right now in Lightburn. Just because I want to save this, I'm going to hit Command Shift S. That's going to save as opposed to saving it into the project file it is, and I'm going to say PNG, right? Penguins and Gill, right there. So you do have up here the copy, the cut, the paste, and then if you want to get rid of them, you can also hit the bin, which is delete. So you've got those very basic commands going on right now. Again, cut, copy, paste, and delete are all there for you. Very standard. If you've ever used a computer before, you're familiar with this. These are universal commands. Moving on. Wow. Okay. Moving on right here. We're going into more of the actual viewing area. So this is the work area right here. And what you can do is the very first one is called pan and drag. So what this allows you to do is actually move the work area around, or the workboard, or whatever you want to call it. So you can see here, if I wanted to like concentrate on this corner, I can move it around. Or hey, you know what? I want to zoom in. So I can actually hit this plus and magnifier, and I can start zooming in, because you know what? Maybe I want to move this guy right to touch right there. And I want to get this guy to be as close. So now they're aligned, and I like, you know, his eye. Well, you know what? I want to get his little top knot as close as I can possibly get. Well, I can't see him now, so I'm going to drag it across. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. But let me see if I can actually just, yeah, that's dead center on now as far as I'm concerned. That line, the line of the graphic is now on the line of my other graphic. So that's great. I've got it. One of the shortcuts for zooming in and out on your mouse, your cursor, sorry, not your cursor, your mouse wheel will also allow you to go in and out that way, zoom in and out. Or you've got a hotkey here that says zoom to page. So now I'm back in the page view. I can pull this up. I can grab this guy. I can move him around. Do I need to zoom it? Let's zoom it in. Keep going. Yeah, it's a little too. I want some context. Let me zoom back out. So again, really simple keys, but things that you want to work out. And one of the things that's really also cool about these hotkeys up the top, or these menu keys, is I want to see. Let's say I'm going to just get on my cursor so I can select it. I want to work on this guy here. I want to bring him right close to this, but I want to zoom in, and I don't want to do it really fast. There's actually a zoom to frame feature, which allows me to zoom, and that's this one right here, right up there. I'm going to pull it out just a little bit, and I'm going to move this guy right across. So again, I'm working with a lot of power, a lot of you know kind of really high level functions, and I can move that guy right there. And let's pop it straight back out again and see what's going on. Great. So again, I can see that I'm laying things up. Now I'm doing this by hand. Absolutely, someone's going to sit here right now and go, Gil, but can't you just do that using some of the other functions? Absolutely, I can. And we're going to go and touch on those in a second. Again, I just wanted to show what we're actually doing here in a context of being able to use these functions, because zooming in and out is going to save you so much time when you're laying out these projects, unless you're using a third party. And one of the things that I love about Lightburn is you don't need to use a third party at all. You can actually just come straight in and be able to come and work that through. So there you go. I want to show that. Now the other thing is the last function in this one is I am not hooked up to my Emblazer or a laser cutter that has a camera, but this one is called Camera, and it's update the background from the camera. So I can actually superimpose the image in my laser. So if I wanted to put these on an existing piece of material that's in laser, I can do so, and that's the hotkey to be able to do that. If I wasn't going to use this hotkey, I'd actually have to come to Camera Control and then use Update Overlay. As you can see here, unfortunately, there is no camera hooked up because I'm using Lightburn without it actually hooked up to my Emblazer. But be aware that you also have that feature just up here, which helps out immensely. It's a very fast way to do it. I use that a lot when I'm engraving things like pencils or badges. I use that camera to update the background, so I know that I'm laying things out as close as possible. There is a slight variation. There's a few mil variation. So if you need to get it spot on perfect, I actually use the cut and print function, which we went through, and there's a video if you guys are interested. I'll link the video down below, and we'll be looking at that in a further deep dive. Moving across, we have probably the function that everyone's going to use, and that is preview. Now look at that. It's telling me, hey, you know what, Gil, we can do this, but some of these objects are out, and I'd say this guy right here is out, but we're going to say yes. Let's see if it's, yep, they got rid of him at the top, and you can see here is my my preview window, and depending on how I've got everything set up in my cuts, it's going to work in certain ways. We were talking about this yesterday. Oh, last time we were on. Well, it feels like yesterday. I got to be honest with you. It does feel like yesterday that I was just doing this with you guys. So it's kind of funny. I can't believe it's been 2 weeks. So many things have been happening. But if I actually get out of here and I change things and I go fill all shapes at once, well, I want to fill them individually, right? So I want to go and check that preview. Yep, that's okay. We're going to lose that one guy. You can see here, first of all, what's really cool about it is we went from about 3 hours to 2.5 hours. So there we go. And we can actually play that. Now that's speeding it up in 40 times the normal speed. But you can see here, you can actually be able to cut different elements all at this, all individually, which saves time. And we went through that all last live stream. So the preview window is something that I use all the time when I'm working with people. If they're new to Lightburn and laser cutting, the preview button, this little button right here, is your friend, guys. Oh my gosh, is it your friend? You know how many times I thought I had it all laid up perfectly, and then I come in here and I scroll that window back, that bar back to see what's going on, and I go, no, I messed it up. That's not what I wanted to do at all. So, you can, by all means, you can feel free to go in there and actually burn the project. But if you've got a 3-hour project, you may not want to waste those 3 hours of material just to find out you haven't laid it up. Probably one of the most powerful features in Lightburn is the preview or the simulation. Moving on, I'm going to move this guy just over here so that when we preview, look, check this out. When we preview it, oh, it's still saying it. Ooh. I see. It's this guy right here. So let's move him up. I kind of like to practice on. No, I think all these guys need to be moved up. Let's give that a shot. There you go. So again, being aware of the boundaries of your image, even though that this is an image, that square, if that's over the actual, if it just happens to be over that, just, I don't know if it's slightly. Let's see if it'll do it that way. No, you see, even on the edge, it won't. So just be aware of the boundary of your image. Make sure everything's in there. And there you go. We won't have any warnings and it won't cut out any images. And of course, why am I scrolling back when I can use the hotkey? Now I've got my workplace completely centered. Perfect. Whew. Let's keep moving on because the next thing we're going to show you is the general settings for Lightburn. Now, I haven't changed any of these. These are what has come standard. The only thing that I have turned off is beginner's mode because there are some features that aren't accessible. But this is where you start organizing all the different settings for Lightburn. You can also go into the file settings or display units. Now, if you've got it in Blazor, if you're using a diode laser, millimeters per minute is the best setting that you can use. As you can see here as well, they've got different settings for CO2 lasers. We're not laser-ish here. You can have a CO2 laser, diode laser, doesn't matter as long as you're being creative. We love it when you're here. So these are some of the settings. I actually haven't really spent any time changing these. I use them standard, and especially for these tutorials, everything here is what comes standard on the machine when you install Lightburn onto your computer. The only difference is I'm using a Mac. The next one across is also a settings, but this is device settings. So these are the settings for the Blazor 2, and you can see here it says the device settings for the Blazor 2. You've got the basic settings, the G-code settings. If you need, for whatever reason, you want to modify G-code so your machine does something a little different when it starts or it finishes, this is where you want to put it in there. Again, you can see I haven't done any of that sort of stuff. They've also done quite a, you've got additional settings. I like my machine working the way it does. It also helps when I've got a problem with the machine to go and speak to the guys at Darkly. I'm not going to say don't change those things, but if you don't understand them, I would suggest, leave them alone. If it works, don't change it. If it's also, if you are going to make any of those changes and you're going to speak to people either in the Facebook group or to Darkly directly, let them know. There's nothing worse than being able to have, it's nothing worse than trying to troubleshoot something and you realize there's some code in here that might have been playing up or something like that. So just, heads up, by all means, experiment, but also just be sure to pass those experiments on to whoever is trying to help you. Now, moving on, that's the end of the settings, but probably the next. Well, these two functions, I think, are the ones that I use the most. Probably preview comes in very, very close, but I think I click these buttons a lot more, and that happens to be the group and ungroup settings. This is all really important. I'm going to make it just very quickly. I'm going to select this guy and make another layer just for the sake of our conversations here. So what I'm going to do is we now have this guy on a separate layer. We have these guys as well. Why am I doing that when it comes to layers? Because I want to show you what goes on. These pieces are all individual. Let's just say for the sake of argument, they're exactly where I want them to put them. So I'm going to undo that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these guys and I am going to group them. So what does grouping mean, Gil? It means now when I select one of these things, I select all of these things. All right. So I now can move them. You know, if I wanted to make a copy of this, let's do that here. And I'm going to use the commands here to copy. So I'm going to copy. Oh, wrong one. Let's get rid of that one. So I'm going to select these guys. I'm copying it. I'm pasting it. You can see here's my second row. So now we've got a second row that's matching the first one, all warts and all. Now I select these guys. You see that guy's blue. He's on this level, and this guy's blue as well. The setting different cut layers does not change depending on the grouping. That's why I added this in. So I can actually change the settings here. Maybe I don't want it to be, well, it's an image because it's a photo, but maybe I want to change this and to 400. So I want to burn this really into the wood. In fact, I'm going to make it charcoal. Well, now I'll have this guy and this guy exactly, a lot darker. Maybe I actually want to do that for all four corners. Well, if that's the case, I can select this. I can hit this ungroup selection, excuse me. Now, I can pick this guy, put him on the first layer. Do the same thing on the last one. Pick this guy again. Well, great. Now I've got these four characters. They're going to be a lot darker. Let me go and select these guys again. Group them. But do the same. Whoa. Excuse me, guy. Whoa. I don't want to do that either. Let me pick it where I'm not going to pick a character. So, okay. Well, that's just because I'm working on a small screen. Let's go select these guys again. Now, what's interesting is I've actually selected that middle photo. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do it the other way. If you select upwards, it selects everything. If not, selecting down only selects the things that are in the box. So that's just a very fast way of controlling. I'm going to select that group. So now I have this group and this group, right? I can move them all around. I can do any final movement that I want, and I've actually within the group defined different settings on what I'm going to do. Yep, that's okay. Let's go yes. And hang on a second. Let me let me just quickly clear this up so that you guys can see exactly what's going on. Let's do a quick. All right, so you can see the settings changed even in the way it's actually burning it. You can see the scarf is and the detail here is a little bit differently than the other guys. So they would be a lot lighter. And you can see that actually working now in the actual preview. So you can see this guy right here, it's coming up. So grouping, a lot of people get confused. They think a group is like a layer. The layers you can still define them. I love being able to group stuff, and I love being able to ungroup stuff. Even when I trace something, and that's something we're going to look at in the next deep dive, when I'm tracing stuff, I can actually break it apart, or I can change nodes, and then I can regroup the graphic once it's in a right place. It's really, really powerful. These two functions, group and regroup, are incredible. So that, and again, don't feel that because you're grouping something, it has to have all the same settings. You can do it. You can actually go in here if you wanted to, and you could define each one individually. So, we're going to make, see, now I ruined it. Did you see what happened? I hit the red one, and I thought I had ungrouped it. All of it had happened. So let's go back, right? Be aware that's going to happen too. So I'm going to ungroup the selection. Now, that's actually ungrouped, but because of the fact that it was all grouped originally, and they were all selected, when I hit the red, bang, it happened. Let's go and group these guys again. Oh, I'm not doing this very well. Let me go back. Okay. That's better, Gil. You see, learn from my mistakes. And you can see here now that if I actually change this again, and I'm going to change this to let's go 1500. Let's go to the preview. And you can see here, we have a different image quality because of the end. We have a different one in the middle as well. So depending on what the material you're cutting, you can actually get you could have the same graphic and a different effect on each one, just to break up the framing by using this technique. So just something to think about. Again, I'm a real big fan of group and ungroup. To me, those things are like incredibly awesome. Now let me just quickly ungroup all of this. He says, thank you. So we're going to ungroup that, and we're going to also ungroup these guys, because I want to show you my next favorite function, and that happens to be align. So we've got a whole bunch of images here. We'll select these guys. Oh, are they grouped? What's going on here? These guys are grouped. See, I had a group within a group. There you go. You can do a whole lot of stuff. Great. So I'm just checking they're all aligned. Beautiful. Sometimes when you move so fast, I don't know about you guys, maybe you can tell me in the chat room right now, do you ever find that one hand is faster than the other? When I type, my right hand is way faster than my left, so letters get displaced. And when I use a mouse, sometimes I'm double clicking and working so fast that that the image kind of, that I get other results. So maybe I got to slow it down just a little bit. All right. So let's move on. Let me show you to this incredible feature, which is called mirror selection, and it's the mirror selection vertically. So when you do it on one, you can see they flip over, and you can do this on multiple selections as well. So this is just a way of being able to, let's say, you want to change it. You also have the ability to mirror horizontally as well. So, maybe you want to make every second one a little bit different, so you can see what's going on. Again, gives you a lot of versatility when it comes to playing with different features. I've got that. Now I'm going to do that. I'm going to hold down the shift and select this guy too. So I'm just going to do this really quickly. And you can see here, we've got kind of like a dancing penguin, which is kind of cool. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can also, this last one is mirror current selection across a line. So you've got to select a line. We don't have a line here, but you can. Let's go and draw a line. I actually haven't used this before, so let's do this live, as they say. So here's a line. Okay, we got a line here, and we're going to select the line. Oh, let's get out of that. So we're going to select that, and we're going to select the line, and let's mirror. Nope, didn't do it. Mirror the current selection across a line. Select the line last. Oh, okay. So let's do that. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Didn't come up. That's okay. Let's see if I can do a quick function. Function F1. And nope, didn't come up. Mirror, vertical. You know what? I'm going to look into that one and we'll get back to it. This is actually a function that I've never used before. And you know what? It caught me out because I didn't get a chance to check it out. But that's okay. Oh, let's not do that. That's the great part about learning stuff. And maybe someone has used that before in the chat room. Let me know. We can always come back to that. But again, the mirror commands are very, very, very important. Now, these commands that I'm going to introduce to you right now, these are some of my favorite. Absolutely. Again, these are probably up there with probably the third or fourth commands that I use a lot. Wow, guys, you're not going to select them? Because I'm not exactly 100% on that, am I? Hang on a second. Come on, that's better. So I'm going to select all these guys. I'm trying to not get that guy, so I'm just going to deselect him. There you go. And I'm going to use these functions here. So the first function that you've got is align both horizontally and vertically in the center. Check out what happens here. Bang. Hold on a second. It selected everything. Let me just quickly deselect that guy as well. Let me do this again. So I've got 5 penguins. Bang. We've now stacked them all on top of each other. So that is what ends up happening with this command, the align vertical and horizontal centers. But on this one, it allows you to do it vertically. So I want to align them all vertically centered. It almost does exactly the same thing. But look what happens when I use this command for left. Well, it's got to do the same thing as well, isn't it? Let's go to, there we go. That's what I wanted to do. So one across allows you to align them horizontally. Of course, we're working on the vertical, and they're all on the vertical, but on horizontal, it cleaned up. So you can see right now that these guys are not all in line. They're slightly askew. Very fast way of being able to do that is align the horizontal center, or you can do it through horizontal top, or you can do it through horizontal bottom, which is very, very slight. But the idea is it's taking the horizontal line at the top or the bottom or the center, and it's putting them all together. Now, why didn't that work on the other one? Let me show you. If we picked this guy, and this guy, it'll do the same, but it's doing vertically. So, of course, if I were to use the horizontal one here, it's going to, again, put it all down. So it's a horizontal. You've just got to choose the right command depending on what it is, whether you're actually lining them up vertically or horizontally, and that was my mistake that I did. So let's clean this up by using these amazing tools. So let's go, let's go back here. We have horizontal center. Beautiful. We're going to do the same thing with these guys right here. So let's grab that, grab them all. We're going to do the horizontal, and then we want to make sure that all these guys match up as well. We'll try to get rid of, not select, the other guy. So we're going to go and we're going to do that in center as well. And you can see that it pulled them across really nicely. And the same thing here. So let's grab these guys. And again, these are probably tricks you already know, but if you don't know them, these make laying out a graphic in Lightburn so much faster, so much more elegant. I mean, these are some of these tools I haven't even seen in design layout, or if they're there, they're very kind of hard to get a hold of. So you can start seeing, we're missing one of these guys, so let's go and copy him, and then we're going to put him, I'm just going to hit the Control V, so, sorry, there you go, and we've got him in there. You know what? He's unaligned. He's not exactly the way we want him to be. So let's grab these guys, and again, a really fast vertical alignment. Bang, all done. So again, if you want to make a frame, if you've got images or graphics you want to align very, very fast, these three tools, especially align vertical, both horizontal and vertical center. If you want to have something in the middle of a number of graphics, nice way to do it. In fact, let's see. No, I won't do it because there's too many things. I'm going to play here. I think I know how to do this, but let's see. Nah, it's going to do it. I knew it was going to do it that way, but I was thinking to myself, wow, is that a way to be able to center the original graphic, the laser live stream? Of course, it's going to do all of them the same way. That's okay. We're getting there. And of course, at this point, you can actually go and, if you were happy with that, you could lock in and select multiple penguins, as I'm doing right now. And we can just group them all together. So now they're locked together. So if I want to move them, I can move them all around. And then I can just keep changing this graphic in the middle. I can put, or put text in it, or put anything that you want in there. So again, it's just an idea of being able to see and manipulate your layout as really, really quickly. And then of course, let's do the quick preview, and you can see, cool. All right, I can see what's going on. Oh, cool. I've got to change a few of those layers. I've got to do a few other things. Hey, I like that. I don't like that. Maybe I want to change the graphic in here. I want to change the darkness, pull out some of the detail. And again, you can use the very new, I believe it's adjust image. We were talking about that last time, and I can change the contrast, and I can play with the brightness to get the image exactly the way I want to do it. It's on newsprint right now. Let's go and change it to dither. Actually, I like Jarvis. There you go. Jarvis, the Jarvis line. You pick the heart. We'll see if anyone picks that film reference. So, it looks really washed out, which is not a bad thing, but you can see some of the detail coming in there. So there you go. All right, let's move forward. I'm going to just grab this and quickly ungroup it. And we're going to talk about these ones, which is distribute selected objects vertically. We were doing things a little bit differently before. Let's go and grab these. We'll move these out here, and we'll select them all. And this is kind of like a hotkey to doing that. So we're going to space them. So now they're all spaced. or we can do it centered. And both of them at this point, using this example, is to do exactly the same thing, because you know what? it's what it wants to do. So let's select it again. We're going to do that centered, and all it's doing is changing that vertical height on each of them. So it's not going to change them, you know, and line them up. Of course, we know how to do that. So this is a very, very, you know, we're going to center it that way, and bang, we've got it. All the things worked out exactly the same height. You can see on the other side here, these guys are not in the same breadth. They're not equal in that way. Let's go do that now. We're going to do it centered. Whoa, I touched the wrong graphic. This is why when you group them, once you've got the layout working, we got it. There you go. Of course, that changed because we added this guy in. So it was doing a mathematical, you know, it was doing some math, and it was adding this vector into the answer of where these are all going to be spaced. And of course, we can do that also horizontally, which is the next one across. So distribute it horizontally, and we're going to do it in the center, and you can see it just pops a little bit. So again, very fast way of being able to work all that stuff out, which is awesome. So now, again, when you look at it, if I got rid of, you know, if I move this guy, we are now centered perfectly when it comes to these characters around making the border, which is very, very cool. Now, there's you can actually make different images, different things, different widths. So I'm going to show you here right now. Because of the fact that we selected one of these penguins first, and then we selected the photo, this command will actually change the penguin to be the same width as the photo. And you can see that right there. So again, if you've got something, maybe it's a line, maybe it's a box, you want to match it up, you can do that very, very quickly using the align, I believe it's called, oh, sorry guys. This is called the make selected items the same width. We also have one that says make selected item the same height. And if you move, let's deselect both of them, and you can see that it sits there. The real trick with this is whatever you want to affect, you want to select it first. So if I wanted to make this photo the same height as this guy here, I would want to select it, and you can see it select the first one. So same thing with when alignment. If you want to align one thing to another, you want to select the item that you're aligning first to the item you want aligned. So that's a bit of a trick that, you know, that works. And then of course we've got move selection too. So I believe this one allows you to move things to like the upper left, to the top, to the lower right, or one that I like using is to the position of the laser. Now, because my laser isn't on right now, and it doesn't know, it'll default to the middle, which is fine. But these tools, have a play with them. These make your layout so much faster and so much more accurate that I had to go through all these tools. Now you can add different tools to this toolbar up the top. It's totally up to you. I'm gone through the tools that come standard when you have Lightburn. Feel free to customize it. As you can see here, in a very, very short period of time, you master these tools, your layouts are going to be superb. Now, guys, we're going to jump back. If you've got any questions, I'm going to check the chat room, and we can jump back in here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this latest edition of the Lightburn Deep Dive. Let's jump over. Oh, guys, I don't know about you, but that was a lot. That was a lot. I hope you're still with me. Now, normally going forward from here, we're not going to be doing such a long deep dive. We went through the two largest areas of Lightburn before. Hey, Josh, thanks so much, man. Good to see you. Nice penguins. I think they're nice. I appreciate them. You know, they're kind of fun. I've got a feeling I might have to cut a few of them out. But as I was saying before, this element of going this deeply into the basics won't be happening anymore. We'll be looking now at different areas. It won't be like a half an hour rundown, but I wanted to be able to do that as a resource for people who are either starting or are curious and want to learn more about Lightburn. And I know I see a lot of projects where people are like, how do I do this? How do I get that functionality out there? The two major areas that we've gone through the last two laser live streams have been the tools on the left-hand side, as well as the actual toolbar on the top that allows you to get some incredible functionality. You don't deal with anything else. When it comes to laying out, you are already going to be a master user of Lightburn. So it's definitely going to be cool. Josh saying he's definitely going to watch the replay. Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate that. So guys, if you've got any questions, feel free to put it in. Again, you know what? We're coming up to, what is it, an hour and a half? Yeah, we're right on an hour and a half. Normally our live streams only go for an hour, but I wanted to be able to go through all of that and make sure that this is the foundation where we're going to be moving forward with the deep dive, Lightburn deep dive, every laser Lightburn. And you know what, once we get through this, we're going to be working on some real world projects here as well. So you know what, it's I'm glad you've been able to come on board. And it seems to me that, I know there's a little bit of delay, but if you have any questions, I'm going to move forward and we're going to see what else is going on. Now, when it comes to Lightburn, I also want to bring your attention to something that came up in the last couple of days, and that is that Lightburn has just released a 9.23 patch. And this patch fixes an issue in the sharing system that could cause your computer to crash if you download a file, edit nodes on a shape, then undid all of your changes and resaved. Since this can also crash when it's auto-saving, it is likely to cause a number of seemingly random crashes, so they're very happy to have fixed this. Now, Lightburn normally doesn't have a problem when it's releasing its fixes, its next versions. The team at Lightburn were really apologetic when they found this. This, for whatever reason, kind of slipped through their testing, and their testing is a whole bunch of users that they released this stuff to earlier. So if you are using the latest version of Lightburn, feel free to download this patch. Nothing else changes except for that functionality, so you can actually work on a job, change a couple of the nodes, and save it without it actually crashing your work. So it's an important thing. I think it's important, and I just wanted to let you guys know that update is available. So if you're using Windows, a Mac, a Linux version of it, when it comes up, and when you get if you launch Lightburn and it comes up with the next update is available, do you want to update? Hit that yes. Bring yourself up to speed and you'll have no problems working deeper and better with Lightburn. The other thing that I want to let you guys know before we head off for the evening is that I run virtual classes as well as one-on-one tuition. If you guys are interested, send me an email at laser.livestream@gmail.com. We have some opportunities this upcoming week to work with you. I love working with people on their projects. I'm talking in a very broad way here when it comes to the laser live streams. But when I learn about the projects that people are working on, it inspires me not only to be able to help them work on their projects as such, but also to be able to get to raise my knowledge to make sure that people and I are able to actually create what it is that they want to. So if you're interested, if you're curious, just send us an email at laser.livestream@gmail.com. Now I'm going back to the chat room. It seems that everyone's happy. That's cool, man. I know I threw a lot of stuff at a lot of people. That was a lot of information. Maybe people's brains are frazzled. My brain's frazzled, and I'm the one who was trying to share it with you guys. So let me just say a quick thank you to everyone who's here, as well as our sponsors for this, Darkly Labs as well. They're home of the Emblazer range. Go check them out. If you don't have an Emblazer, check out the Emblazer 2 or the Emblazer Core. And you know what? Keep your eyes right here. Right here. I should... No, right here. I might be doing something a little bit wrong, because there's going to be announcements all the time. So you know what, I'm super keen to be able to bring those to you, as well as Lightburn. That's the software we were just going through. If you're using a laser cutter, you cannot go past Lightburn. Happens to also be the software that runs the Emblazer. Thank you guys so much. I am looking forward to seeing what you make in the next 2 weeks. If you have any feedback, feel free to put it in the chat room or the comments below. Again, if you get something out of this video, out of this live stream, feel free to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're not. If you want to, you can throw a few dollars my way using the one-time donation. Become a member of the Facebook group, and I will see you in exactly 2 weeks, the end of this month, the end of April. And we're going to go and share what you've created, what I've created, and we're going to also work a little bit more on Lightburn. Guys, wherever you are, stay safe. I know that, there's still the pandemic going on. I mean, I'm hoping that everyone's doing what they need to do to stay as safe as they possibly can. I'm Gil Posnanski. I'm here from Melbourne, Australia, and I will see you. And until I see you next, go make something awesome. All right? Stay safe. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in a fortnight. Take care. Keep lasering.